USA Today.
House chaplain, those are those guys that are unelected government officials that, get
religious
paid by taxpayer dollars.
I was going to say,
Are entirely unneeded?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
They're just there to do fanfic for a particular group.
I just wanted to make sure that I knew the kind of people we're talking about.
In the Federal Appeals Court Friday, the atheists didn't have a prayer. A U.S. court.
That's so clever.
That's some great editorializing right there.
Wow.
A U.S. Court of Appeals for the D.C. Circuit sided with Father Patrick Conroy, the House chaplain, in ruling that he could not be ordered to allow a self-described atheist to offer a secular prayer to the House of Representatives. The case was brought by Dan Barker, co-president of the Freedom from Religion Foundation and a former minister, against Conroy in his official role as the House chaplain. Barker alleged Conroy improperly rejected a request to have him serve as guest chaplain. The lower court had dismissed Barker's claims that his rights had been violated under the Establishment Clause in the First Amendment of the U.S. Constitution, which prohibits the establishment of religion by Congress, but offered its own take on the issue.
Wait a second. They've got their own take on the Establishment Clause?
Apparently so. In the decision released Friday, the appeals court three-judge panel sidestepped the legal question of whether Barker was being prevented from offering a prayer because he was an atheist and focused instead on the content of the prayer. Writing for the panel, Judge David S. Tettel said that the court need not decide whether there is a constitutional difference between excluding a would-be prayer giver from the guest chaplain program because he is an atheist and excluding him because he has expressed a desire to deliver a non-religious prayer. Even though we accept as true Barker's allegation that Conroy rejected him because he is an atheist, the House's requirement that prayers must be religious nonetheless precludes Barker from doing the very thing he asks us to order Conroy to allow him to do, deliver a secular prayer.
Well, that really just means secular invocation. I feel like the word prayer is a little misleading there.
Yeah. What's your source again? USA Today?
This is USA Today.
Yeah.
Okay, so last episode, I did a story provided by a listener, and again, thank you for that, that was trying to say, hey, since secular humanism is kind of sort of technically in only a really legal sense
Considered
a religion. Couldn't they use that as grounds to say, well, yeah, you are infringing on my religion to let me do a so-called prayer.
They're violating his religious freedom.
His secular humanist
potentially.
my religion.
My understanding was that the ruling that found that secular humanism was found to have an amount of religious designation was somewhat narrow, or I haven't read
don't
it.
know.
I don't understand because I'm a non-lawyer. But yeah, they could do that. I think it's probably a bad idea if he appeals it to this particular Supreme Court, because that would be not a ruling that we would get correctly from this one. But yeah, I don't know. It's weird. I kind of feel like we shouldn't have any of these things in a legislative session.
Right.
You're there to go to work.
But it's still open for a guest Satanist, I guess.
Yeah, that would be great if the church, if the Satanic Temple could show up and do that. That would
please do.
Mm-hmm. Please do, not because we agree with the conclusions or your doctrine, but because there's a large number of people that when they hear religious freedom, they mean Christians can do what they want.
And we already know you love to troll them.
It's funny. It seems like we get these stories constantly.
Yeah.
It's almost as if they get to just flagrantly break the law all the time in hopes that if it goes up to a higher court, then our current more or less theocratical the
Yeah.
democratic court is going to
Yes,
give them
Well,
the
it's say
precedent
It's a
that they're
freaking
hoping for.
it's a ratchet. I mean,
Yeah.
they keep doing this, and if one succeeds, they're a little bit closer to the theocracy they want.
Yeah, I was gonna say it's when you say more or less theocratic court, I think you mean I know which of those that I
Yeah.
opt for. Yeah,
But it's
No,
a
they've-
ratchet. It only goes one way.
they-
It never slips back.
Yeah, they've been actually in legal parlance, lawyers say one-way ratchet, but mostly
do they?
Mostly
Oh,
because
okay.
they don't know what ratchets are. But yeah, sorry, Andrew. No, they've been trying to weaponize the judiciary for a while, and that's a thing. They've succeeded. There's an organization set up specifically to look at that because they know that judges don't get voted out.
Yeah, and again, the fact that we have chaplains at all on the
Right.
spare time is absolutely
fuck that.
ridiculous. You know,
Why am I paying for that?
right? If you want to do an invocation or a prayer for whatever government meeting,
Yeah,
you can volunteer.
Yeah.
No.
Because-
Well, that, but also in terms of
We don't need to be having you
Yeah.
getting a salary just for that.
So I actually take it a step further, which is that after you open a session of the legislature, sure, we can have the Pledge of Allegiance makes sense, but any invocation after that, doesn't really make sense to me. I mean, speeches on or
Right.
from the floor of a house, I don't know.
Yeah, well,
I have very strong feelings about government and
it's a waste of
legislatures.
time,
Yes.
We must.
whether it has any kind of religious overtones or not.
Well, how can you even think of opening the house without being divisive? Come on.
Well, you wait until
Yeah.
after quorum is established, and then you start introducing legislation, and then you get divisive very quickly. So.
Right. So anyway,
Yeah, I don't know.
That was that.
And what state was that in again?
It was. You said Missouri. yeah.
Missouri.
Missouri. Wait, no. No, that was federal appeals
Well,
court
which-
Friday of D.C. Circuit.
Oh. Oh yeah, I guess.
And I think they're talking about the.
Was he trying to? It's
Well-
a shame because I was speaking with someone at the American Atheist Convention about this. I just forgot
Right.
where it was. So
Well, in any case, it's kind of like a same shit, different day type of scenario.
yeah, yep,
Which is,
Yeah, they're talking the House of Representatives. I think this is actual
yeah.
federal.
Yeah, well,
Federal, yeah.
if it's D.C. Circuit and House of Representatives, that would be my bet. It's some
Yeah.
fucked up
Unfortunately, at this moment, almost the best thing to do is go ahead and talk about it, but not do anything about it.
shit. Yeah,
Because
no, don't send that to the Supreme Court. Don't
Yeah,
do it.
that's exactly what they're hoping for.
Dan, I may not be a lawyer. Don't do that. We're not on a first name basis.
Yeah, it kind of seems like that's the best move. Let them break the law, because if we try and hold them accountable,
Yeah,
things might get worse.
they've weaponized the judiciary, and I'm not
Right.
just saying that from hyperbole. That was their goal. They stated that. They've worked at that. They've achieved that. Right? Like, there's also, I think John Oliver did a thing about that as well. We were just
Yeah.
talking about the Supreme Court nominations. Yeah.
Well, that's a
I mean,
good start to the show.
Yeah, I was gonna say.
Yeah,
Well, we
not
all
depressing at all.
We all agree it's bad. American law not going so great.
Yeah.